Welcome back to the Reidel Law Firm Odyssey channel. Today I'm sitting with a good friend of mine, a colleague in the franchise and restaurant space, and does a lot of other really cool stuff. We're going to chat about that and chat about how he's helping franchisors and the amazing services they offer, and how they can streamline some of the headaches that franchisors go through. So I'm sitting with Joel Berman. He is the principal and a licensed architect with Berman Architecture. And yeah, he's based out of Chicago. We met at the National Restaurant Show this year. He's done some really amazing stuff. He's an artist in his own right too. So despite his credentials as an architect, or I guess not in spite of, but in addition to, he's really an amazing artist. I've seen some of your sketches, Joel, when we're chatting, and some of your art classes that you've taught, and it's amazing. As someone who does not have any artistic ability, it's really quite impressive. So thank you for joining us.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, so I appreciate you joining us and taking the time. I want to chat a bit about how you help franchisors and whatnot. The first question is tell us a bit about yourself. Tell us about Berman Architecture, who you are, what you do, and how you got started.
So I founded Berman Architecture in 2002 because I wanted to create a more nimble and design-focused experience for clients. And we started out by doing house additions and houses. And then slowly I started doing retail work and restaurants. And I started working on restaurants, and they were fun. They were interesting. So I started developing my understanding of commercial kitchens. And I noticed that in a lot of restaurants, the commercial kitchen was not integrated with customer experience. It was almost as if they were designed separately.
Yeah.
And then frankly together. So we started by doing franchise locations and independent restaurants. And at a certain point, I didn't want to do that anymore. I wanted to design the prototype. And the prototype is the template that all of the locations are built from. I felt like that we could do that better, and that it would be more interesting, and that we could really help franchisors do prototypes that were more efficient and simpler. So around 2018, we rebranded more creatively, and we started doing graphic design services, and we were doing some logo design. And we pitched work, and we started doing work with a national general contractor who eventually connected me up with SLC. SLC is a franchise consultant based in Atlanta. And it was interesting. Before the pandemic, we had developed a process for reviewing and changing design online. So we already had a protocol. We had
ahead of the curve.
Yeah, so we were ahead of the curve, and it was just, I had wanted to expand for more national clients outside of Chicago by using video, by using Zoom, and it was hard to convince people to do it. We were working with Gelatissimo out of Sydney, Australia, and a kickboxing franchise system. I love kickboxing. We had done some locations in Utah. But really, when the pandemic hit, it was very, very easy to expand at that point, because we had the protocol, the knowledge, and we've done multiple franchise systems since.
That's
we also
awesome.
A couple of other things that set us aside is we use freehand drawing as a design tool, which seems to be a lost art among some architects.
Yeah, it's amazing. I've seen, some of your sketches, and I'm sure you'll show us here in a bit, which is just unbelievable. Hey, let me ask you, you mentioned design-centric services, I think. Can you expand upon that? What does that mean exactly?
Sure. Can I show you the process?
Sure, let's do it.
Okay, so here's our hospitality franchise design pitch deck. So we specialize in prototype design. We're licensed architects, we're interior designers, and we are brand consultants.
All in one stop. I like that.
Here's our reach around North America. So we have work from Waikiki to Boston, and the locations in Canada are really places where I teach. So let's talk about freehand drawing. So the initial conversation is, it's really a graphic conversation. We do this back and forth with freehand sketches in 3D. So this one down here, the point of sale and the person standing behind the point of sale, that's just speaking to a Taiwanese dumpling house. What if we were to sell frozen dumplings at the point of sale? What might that look like? What might a maker brewery look like? What happens if we take round booths and put them in the middle of the dining room and put the tables around the perimeter? Well, one of the effects of that is it's very difficult to pull tables together, and it makes the space less flexible, but it may look compelling.
Yeah, interesting.
What might a chef's training kitchen look like? So here's a Southside Chicago small training kitchen for a chef where they might actually produce product as a pop-up. So here's what it might look like from one end. Here's the cold line, here's the hot line. Here is looking at it in the other direction, and then there's an opening up here. And then here's what it looks like from the outside in through the opening. So it's just a very simple graphic conversation. So again, looking back in the other direction, and then here's what it might look like to somebody buying the product through the window. So they're
Service window.
simple sketches just illustrating the process.
Very cool. So when you're sketching with the client or prospective client here, you're talking through with them basically what their concept is, the type of atmosphere they want to have, the branding that they want to have, things like that, right? This all of this will come out in your sketches and design and help them realize what they want people to see, right?
Right. It's the initial conversation. So the red in the dumpling house was really critical to them. It's a specific red that relates to their brand, and that's very critical, and it means something culturally.
Yep. Very cool. Okay. Excellent. So that's phase one, and you sit down and chat with them. Where do they go from here? So I imagine this is the pre-consultation, I guess, consultation with them, and then the next phase is a little more hands-on, right? For everybody.
Well, I might have a general conversation before we sign an agreement, and then this is the first piece of this. This is really the programming part of the engagement, where we're trying to define the problem. And yes, you can talk it through, or you can write back and forth, but I find that it runs much faster when you use drawing as a design tool. Like just as really, it's a separate type of language that it makes the communication go much faster, and it puts us on the right page when we're drawing on computer. So I feel strongly that this is a tool that works very well in our workflow. So the next phase is really putting it into building information modeling. So at this point, this is Mangia Organica, and every Mangia Organica has a Vespa scooter. You can see that it's down here in that area.
Okay, cool, yeah.
But the franchisor gave us their commercial kitchen equipment list, the type of service, so they're fast casual. We worked out the cooking line and the back of house really based on their menu and their service, and we worked through intricately with them how that might work. The size of the tenants, this is a prototype, so the size of the tenant space had to do with what markets and types of buildings that they thought the franchisees might have. So in this
Okay.
case, it's a Central New Jersey franchise system. It was what's likely available in that market in strip malls. They felt like they would more likely be in strip malls. So then what we do is we come up with 3 or 4 layouts. Then we meet with the owner, with the franchisor. They choose the one that's closest to what they feel they want, and then we make changes with them in real time during the call. So we might flip the line or change equipment while we're talking to them, or change the seating, and we'll have several meetings where we're doing that. Then the next phase, we do the same thing with material finishes. So
Wow.
here's Mangia Organica, and that's a final render. So you can see that it's modern Italian high contrast darks and lights. There's the Mangia Organica logo in the background, and then to them that red was also very important.
A little flourish, right?
Yeah, as the accent, and we decided not to make all the seats red, but to put it at the common table at the high top. But again, all of this is fleshed out. So we will present palettes of finishes, and then what we do is we overnight the material finishes for them to hold in their hand and approve. The next one, this is Bottle House, and that is in Aurora, Illinois. It's like 50 miles west of Chicago on the Fox River.
Okay.
This is this was a potential. It was never built. It was a prototype for Nunzia's. It was an evolution of the Nancy's Pizza brand in Chicago, and the idea was for it to appeal to younger people and for the pizza to be healthier. So it's Neapolitan style, and it's Marshall Middleby rolling pizza oven. So it throws it through in maybe 4 minutes, and from the customer side, it looks like a hearth. So there you go.
Cool.
But you can see the ovens back here, and then the colors are really relate to a very different brand from Nancy's Pizza, which is Legacy, and then it's heavy. Their colors
a refresh.
are heavy red and green, right?
Okay.
And then the last one, this is Be Nutritious. It's out of Southern California, and it's all about purity of food, health, and they provide meal plans. They did very well during the pandemic. So the concept here is that we're showing the pure whites with natural, contrasted with natural finishes. There are succulents, cactus on the wall. Why are they succulents? Because we didn't have to go through the expense of plumbing on the wall. We could maybe water it.
Watering them all the time. Yeah.
And
I've seen some walls like that where they will have regular plants and water them all the time, and it gets so messy. You know, it's just a lot of maintenance.
I mean, that works too, but for a fast casual, if you're a franchisor trying to sell locations, we try to keep the cost reasonable. And the other thing we do is we make sure that the finishes are available nationally. So if a franchisor has been specifying furniture and materials regionally, and maybe the source is inconsistent, we'll make sure that it's very consistent. Gotcha. Okay.
So even besides design, you're even solving some of their supply chain issues right there. Basically, you know, you're consulting with them and telling them, look, we got to go with a different option because the supply chain isn't reliable.
Well, I don't think you're being a good architect unless you're addressing supply chain, unless you're solving multiple problems. I also think you're not a good contractor if you're not also addressing design issues. And as a franchise consultant or franchise attorney, we're all in this together, and we all have to work collaboratively. So
definitely,
we should be aware of what's outside of our lane. We should all know a little bit about financing. We should all know a little bit about marketing, and then we can bring the best experience to the franchisor.
100% agree, and that just shows. I mean, you go above and beyond. It's just a fantastic. I really like it. I really like what you guys do.
Well, you do too, Rocky.
Well, true, yeah, right. It's kind of the for service providers, I guess, and consultants and whatnot these days. That is the distinguishing factor, right? It's less. I mean, experience is there, right, and the other value propositions, but ultimately, our job is to make our clients' lives easier, right? And that's why I tell folks, look, my job is to make it easier for you. I'm going to do the work, right, and get it done. We talk about some strategic ideas and decisions here and there, but to point me in the right direction. But my goal is to take the load off of your back, right? And that sounds like your philosophy too. So,
Right. Yeah, and the other thing is, I don't like to provide people transactional services. If it's transactional, then you just can choose the lowest cost provider. But if
yeah,
we provide real value by providing integrated services, for example, really understanding how the kitchen works and having deep understanding of the process that we're doing. So we also design murals. We tend to design them. Oftentimes we design them digitally, although we have done some watercolor murals. But the idea to provide them digitally is so that it simplifies the process of construction. They can be installed as wallpaper. So we have a printer print them, ship, and then a local installer puts them in, and the general contractor can integrate that directly into their process, into their construction process. So these two are options for the Aurora bar on the Fox River. These were two options for Rebel 365. So here's a more colorful one. This is acai and kombucha out of Ojai, California. They chose the one that doesn't have color, and this is the Be Nutritious mural.
very cool. Very cool.
Here's some brands that we work with. So the ones where we've done prototypes are Spitz, Rebel. We're working on some others, Sly Sliders and Fries, the Dalai Lama Waffle Master. I love the Dalai Lama Waffle Master.
Great brand, yeah.
And Be Nutritious, and some of the others that you see here, we're actually working right now on prototypes. We've done logos and websites for some clients. And like here's an example of a prototype. So this is the Dalai Lama Waffle Master, and this is a render. This was done before the first prototypical store was designed and opened.
Wow.
And then what we do is we lay it out, and then we specify everything. Here's the commercial kitchen equipment list, and then we show the pieces in axonometric. Here's every elevation in the store. And then additional renders.
Now that hardware list, that is basically leveraging everything, all the work that you've done for the franchisor, and leveraging so that the franchisees' lives are easier, right? Basically, they get the blueprints and the set of equipment and inventory, and they're off to the races, right?
Well, what we do is that's the prototype, and then what we'll do is a test fit. So each space will be a little bit different, and each will interpret it a little bit differently. It's like each state has different courts, and circuit courts are all a little bit different. So what we'll do is we'll do a test fit for a location, adjust it, and then oftentimes we're the architect of record in that wherever it's built, and we'll bring it through. Or our layout, it can be sent to another local architect where they could execute it. We tend to do it faster nationally if we've done the prototype. We're able to spit them out I shouldn't say spit them out. We're able to issue them very quickly and do multiples at the same time. So there's a level of efficiency in having one national architect work on them. But we adapt to whatever the franchisor, whatever their models should be. So for some franchise systems, it's a mix.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. So, I'm looking at our questions again that we had. I think we've already we've hit all of them through your deck here. But I want to.
Wait, who do we typically work with? So
Sure, yeah.
we work with franchisors and franchisees that we've spoken about. We also do a lot of adaptive reuse. So in Chicago right now, we're doing
That's right.
we're doing a small business fashion incubator, and it's in Englewood, and it's going to be an economic driver in that neighborhood in Chicago. We do a lot of work on the south side in excuse me. In neighborhood opportunity zones, NOF zones. And what we do, the city of Chicago provides matching funds for areas of the city that are challenged.
Yeah.
We're doing a mixed use development at 75th and King that will provide a home for an expanded 5 Loaves Eatery, Harold's Chicken. There'll be some white box retail and then renovated apartment.
Cool.
Right now the building is burned out, and so it's bad to have the major commercial intersection of a neighborhood have a burned out building.
Yeah.
We also do townhouse developments. We're doing a townhouse development in Titusville, Florida, and we're looking at doing a few in Indiana. So, but really our core competency is restaurant and franchise design.
Excellent. So you're working within the franchise space, who in this, maybe this answers everybody, right? Everybody in the franchise, who's your best, I guess, I don't know if the word would be prospect, but who do you help the best? Is it going to be franchisors who are already existing and maybe need a refresh, or is this a startup franchise concept that it has a mishmash of design and interior concepts and whatnot? Who do you help the most, I guess, or who do you want to help?
We bring order to chaos. If you're having trouble getting stores open, we can help you. We can help.
I like that.
National contractors who will bring consistency. So if you are an emerging franchise system, we will work very well with you. Or if you're an existing franchise system and things just aren't working, that's fine. Oftentimes we find legacy franchise systems where the information is just not clear. It's there, but it's not clear. So we'll bring all the pieces together and we'll put it in a single model, and then we'll present it to the contractors and the franchisees in a very clear and easy to understand way. So if you know that your paint colors are this and it's in one set over here, and here's another equipment list, and here's information about the flow of the kitchen, but it's all in different pieces, we'll bring it together in a single model, and then we'll help you put them out very quickly. If you have a franchise system and your growth is being stopped because stores can't open fast enough, that's our sweet spot.
Excellent. Now, I don't want to spend too long on this, but quick question: do you ever have resistance with maybe some of the legacy franchisors in regards to that type of refresh or something? I know I've experienced some of that with some of the older franchisors I worked with, where they've done things for so long their way that they resist change, right?
Yes, there is resistance to it. The other thing is a lot of franchisors use 2D CAD when really it should be 3D CAD, because there's a huge efficiency in drawing production, and it's coordinated better. And I'm not quite sure why. I think all architects should be working with Revit or a different type of building information modeling rather than AutoCAD. So
that's really interesting.
I was working with we were working with I won't name it, but we're working with a national franchise system, and they kept having issues in the field where the equipment didn't fit. And I kept saying, we could actually model your kitchens in 3D. The manufacturers all have models in Revit, and we could make sure that there's no conflicts, but they continued to have delayed openings because the equipment wasn't right, had to be returned and reinstalled.
Oh man, that's just burning money. You're just throwing it in the fire pit at that point. Jeez. All right, yeah. So I know we've talked a bit about how you help franchisors, but do you want to dig a little deeper on that, in particular to the design services and the areas that the efficiencies, I guess, you can bring to franchisors?
The efficiencies that we bring are really the efficiencies that franchisees are looking for, and that is consistency. What we do is we make sure that everything is available and easy, it's available and easy to, let me rephrase that.
Install, implement.
Okay. So what we do is we bring order to chaos. We make sure that we bring everything together. We review everything with you by video and modify the model with you. So if you say that you want this piece moved over here, we do it on the spot with you and then send you a PDF. And we have iterative design that is not makeup. We don't mark up paper, go back and fix it. We do it with you on the spot. That's something that virtually we can do very efficiently. So at a certain point, we were having people in the office and we were modifying the Revit file on the screen. And then it just occurred to me around 2017 that we could do that by video. Then almost none of our local clients were coming to the office anymore, even the ones that lived a mile away. They would just they would just do it by video call, and that is the efficient, smart way to do it.
Definitely. I love it. I mean, in seeing your work and how you work, you're ahead of the curve, and it's just you can bring tremendous amount of peace of mind, right? I guess to franchisors who are facing these challenges.
Right.
And I guess to round us out, do you want to tell us how folks can reach you and how do they start that process with you?
Do you mind if I show two more things really quickly?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Let's do it.
So one is a Matterport. A Matterport, oh, I have to share. Okay. We own a Matterport. So when we're doing work out of town, what we do is we make sure that we scan the building.
There we go.
We work with Matterport, so I'm going to pull up, let's see, here's
It's one of those laser scanners.
yes. So here's one that we just measured. I just flew out and measured this last week.
They're crazy accurate. Unbelievable.
Right. So it's extremely accurate.
Wow.
And it's more than just the real estate scans that you see. That we actually are able to get a point cloud that's very accurate, so we can take precise measurements that are within 1 or 2%.
That's crazy.
We can also, we can look at everything in plan, 3D, and this also helps with the engineering because our engineers can look at this model, they can take duct measurements, see existing conditions, and it helps make the process simpler. And then this is important to do before we do the test fit. The other thing I wanted to show you is, you mentioned that I'm an artist. I do like to draw. So since I travel a lot for business, I have, I was drawing a crazy sketch on the plane, which is where I'm sitting on the plane at relax.
That's funny. I like that.
Yeah, it's Billy Bishop Airport in Toronto. So it's a barrier island airport, and then you can see downtown Toronto in the background.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
Right, that's just a little bit. And then go to another one. Here's Chicago River.
Wow. That's awesome.
I just like to draw. And I'm a river rat, so I tend to draw.
That is cool.
And then here, so whenever we're traveling, oh, baseball. I'm going to show you Wrigley Field.
Wow. That's cool.
So like baseball games. Okay.
That is really cool. Love it. Very cool. Thank you for showing. So it's just amazing when I see stuff like that folks like yourself have talent to go from a pen or pencil and paper and create that. It's just unbelievable to me. My brain just didn't develop that way to create that, you know. It's so impressive to me to see that. It's very, very cool.
I could teach you.
I don't know. Maybe you could. I remember them teachers trying to teach me at school, and it was like pulling teeth. It's like I'm doing the same stick figures I did in like first grade, you know. But anyways, so Joel, just round us out. Tell us how franchisors and others, right, even independent restaurateurs, how can they reach out to you? How can they work with you? And get that process started, because there are a lot of people who need your services, and I think they're gonna, if they don't realize it now, they should, and they will in the future. But they're gonna have an idea of the efficiencies that you can bring to them and make their lives a whole lot easier. That's for sure. So how do they do that?
So the best way to contact me is go to Berman Architecture, BermanArchitecture.com. Go to the contact page and fill out the form, and I'll immediately set up a meeting with you, either by phone or by video, and we can chat. Or you can write to me at joel@BermanArchitecture.com. And I'd love to meet you. Let's see if we can work together.
Absolutely, definitely. And what we will do too is we'll make sure to link link your website here in the description as well. And also, for clients and friends and family of myself and Reidel Law Firm, hopefully we'll be doing some events soon, maybe this year or next year. I know I'll be back at the National Restaurant Show, so you're there in Chicago, so we'll have to do something, and I'll blast it out to our email list. We'll do some cool stuff. So Joel, thank you for joining us again. It's been really great chatting with you, and hopefully we'll work together on some projects pretty soon.
Skylar, thank you Rocky, thank you very much. I always enjoy talking to you, and yeah, I'm excited, and I'm looking forward to seeing you in the future.
Likewise. Perfect. Well, have a great week, and we'll be in touch.
You too. Okay.
All right. Take care. All right. Appreciate it, Joel.